A Fox News alert, and just within the last hour, we got word that American journalist Steven Sotloff of Time magazine, held by ISIS, reportedly has been beheaded in Syria by ISIS terrorists. That in the same manner of James Foley, beheaded a little more than a week ago. With more for us now, Elon Berman, Vice President of the American Foreign Policy Council. I suppose everybody feared the worst for Steven Sotloff. The United States clearly has been making inroads against ISIS with the air campaign there. That's what has them so angry, and they want to turn our stomachs, essentially, by killing another American in perhaps the most barbaric way imaginable, Elon.
No, I think that's right, but I think it actually goes beyond that. What you're looking at is a message, a continued message from ISIS to the United States. The administration has been, I think, very leery to talk about the fact that with the Foley beheading, ISIS was trying to send a message to the United States, effectively that it's coming, that it's irreconcilably opposed to the United States. We've talked a lot about a coalition of the willing. We've talked a lot about the fact that this isn't really a war. This is sort of something else. It's an internal conversation. But the message in the Foley beheading and also the message today with the Sotloff beheading is very clear that ISIS is irreconcilably opposed to us, and they're coming.
And our reaction is supposed to be what? I mean, they essentially, when they beheaded James Foley, they said, look, if you don't back off, if you don't stop your air campaign, we're going to do the same thing to Steven Sotloff. Well, now they've done that.
No, I think that's right. And part of their messaging to us is that, they were trying to deter us from acting. Clearly, the stakes in the current struggle with ISIS are far broader than simply one person. But for ISIS, it's a matter of credibility to demonstrate that now that they've said that there will be consequences for continued U.S. military action, that they follow through. This is part of a larger conversation. Does it suggest that, well, that we are being effective in this military campaign, this air campaign that has, accomplished things like taking back the Mosul Dam from ISIS, released the Yazidis, released the Turkmen in Amerli? Well, I think there's no question that we've been successful on a tactical level, but we should be talking strategy here. The administration, I think, very tellingly said last week that it, quote, doesn't have a strategy yet for dealing with ISIS. I think part of the reason it's leery to talk about this is the fact that a real long-term strategy to defeat ISIS means effectively going back to Iraq, to do more nation building, to prop up a more stable, more inclusive political government, and as a result, deny the political breathing room for ISIS that it currently has. That's a long-term project. Well, obviously, Americans' stomachs are turned when we see the kind of thing that they are releasing. What is the propaganda value? What's the propaganda effect of taking the heads off of these innocent journalists? Well, I think it's very clear. In much the same way that al-Qaeda would flout the Western laws of war post 9/11, that ISIS is taking a stand. It's demonstrating that what it's doing is deadly serious, that it is willing to go to all lengths imaginable in its attempt to recreate and then hold its new caliphate. And as a result, that not only U.S. soldiers, but also U.S. civilians, because after all, journalists are civilians, are fair game in this conflict. It's a warning. Now, with both of these men, apparently, with James Foley and with Steven Sotloff, they dressed them in those bright orange jail uniforms, the kind that prisoners wear at Gitmo. They're trying to, I guess, to tie the barbaric kinds of treatment that they give our prisoners to the essentially very good treatment that we have given to Islamic prisoners at Gitmo. Well, I think there's part of that, certainly. It makes for very good imagery. The colors pop. There is a correlation between the captured journalists and sort of, at least that they're trying to build, and prisoners at Gitmo. But there's a larger, I think, narrative that's taking shape here, is that unlike the United States, unlike the countries of the West, al-Qaeda and more recently ISIS, they have no interest in following the Geneva Conventions. They have no interest in holding prisoners, in POWs, in sort of civilized rules of warfare. For them, this is all-out combat.